What's up, everyone? This is Hybris, and we're in the studio today. We're going to take a look at my song called Iceworm. It came out a little while ago on Metalheadz. So, first things first, let's just listen to the beginning of the tune. So that's generally what the tune sounds like. So first things first, I'm just going to walk you through the project. And I have to say, by the time I finish a song, a lot of the times, a lot of things are resampled and sound a little bit different. So you might notice it looks like I've got 3 tracks here, and obviously I don't. They're just folder tracks. But what I like to do is I like to resample things and I like to bounce things down and I like to put them into folders because it's not that I don't want to have control at the end stages of the project, but I feel like when you resample stuff or when you bounce stuff down or when you put it into folders, it's kind of like resampling your brain. So, you lose the control of being able to tweak that little detail on your snare at the last second of the tune, but you also don't have to think about that sort of thing, and sometimes it's a lot nicer to clear your head out than it is to retain control over every single minute aspect of the tune. So anyways, I've got 3 folders here. Atmos and effects, which is all of the atmospheres and effects, basically anything that's not bass and drums. And I've got bass, which seems to be just 2 basses and a few LFO triggers, but we'll get into that in a second. And then a bunch of drums. So I guess we should just go through track by track and talk about some things that I did here. And, this is actually kind of an older project, so this will be a process of discovery for me as well. So in the intro, what do we have going on here? It looks like a bunch of audio. So let's just play it through. And I guess the first thing that I would point out is this sound effect that looks like it's been resampled from Arcuon, which is a strange synth. So let's solo this guy. So it looks like this is a pretty standard pad, and then I've got some effects on it. Here's one which I like using a lot. It's PSP N2O. And what you can see here is there's definitely some automation going on. I guess I'm not sure what those things actually do, but we'll take a look. So the reason I think N2O is pretty cool is it's kind of semi-modular. You've got 4 operators, and you've got 4 modulators. And these modulators can be whatever you want them to be, an LFO, an envelope detector, a standard envelope generator, or a step sequencer. I generally just use the LFOs, but why I like the LFOs in this is you can actually set the left and right offset off. So LFO1 here is doing different stuff in the stereo field, as you can hear. I hope you can hear. And I've got this routed to frequency A of the first operator. So you can only view either the left or the right at one time, but basically this is a bandpass filter, and it's moving up and down in the left and right at slightly different times, and that gives you a nice stereo effect. So that's what that one's doing. Let's take a look at operator 2. Oh, we've got a little floating notch here, and that's being controlled, again, by something with slight offset. Modulator 2, or the second LFO, has a little stereo offset. So that really helps you spread things out and get a lot of texture in the stereo field. Yeah. And then this knob 5 and knob 6, what do I have here? Oh, it's connected to the frequencies of these two. Aha. So yeah, this is basically just to high pass and low pass stuff. So I guess operator 3 is a high pass, and knob 5 goes operator 3. So there we go. Right before it drops, you've got a little high pass filter that cuts everything out. And then operator 4 is a low pass. What do you do here? What are you doing? Oh, I guess he opens up fully and then closes right before the drop. So anyways, you've got 4 different filters here, and then you can change the routing of them. So I guess, oh wow, this is not just serial routing. So I've got it so the input signal goes to operator 1, but part of the dry signal, a little slightly lower in volume, skips operator 1 and goes to operator 2. And then operator 2 goes to operator 3, and then also operator 1 skips operator 2 and goes to operator 3. So you can have a lot of serial or parallel routings here, which gives you a lot of power as far as what goes to what, and if you can let some dry signal through. Just be careful when you start messing with this part, because you can easily create a feedback loop here and really hurt your ears. So keep that in mind if you ever mess with this. So again, the reason I really like N2O is, there's a lot of flexibility with it, and it's a really good way to just have, all your filtration going on with one plugin. And yeah, so that's what's happening with that pad. Then I guess we've got some Verb Suite Classics. This is a really nice reverb plugin that comes with the Slate Digital Everything bundle, and it's a bunch of emulations of a lot of classic reverbs. So I think this is the Alesis whatever, and a bunch of lexicons in here, and just a bunch of really classic reverb boxes that I cannot afford, but this sounds pretty good to me. So, and you can go through it just by scrolling manually through all of the, how do we do it? Yeah, all the different reverbs and all the different presets they have. Or in this browser, you can sort it by length, by the type of reverb, by, what kind of general space it is. So, yeah, anyways, I really like this one. What do we have here? A Dreamy Hall. Let's listen to the sound of that. Yep. And you can actually really hear the sort of stereo LFOs when you take that reverb off. But yep, that sounds like a reverb. Sounds nice. What do we have here? Virtual mix rack. So this is something that usually goes on every track that I ever make in every song. Okay, so it's a compressor. What is it doing? Looks like it's just kind of keeping everything in line. So I like this compressor. This is one of their FET style, this is the vintage blue edition one. And so it's got a little bit more character to it than some of the other compressors, and I feel like it's good at keeping things in line. It's also really good on drums. It's not the most transparent compressor ever, but that's not why I'm using it. I just think it has a nice warm sound to it. With the fake analog thing, that's always fun to warm things up. And then EQ, probably taking out the lows. Yeah, just taking out some peaks here. Nothing especially interesting, but if we look at it, I have a feeling this is going to kind of really boost up at some point, and that's why that's there. Very often I'll do the exact same thing, or do this with FabFilter Pro MB, because that's not just a, dip. It would be a dip that only happens when it crosses the threshold, but I guess I felt this was important. So anyways, that's one pad. Foghorn. Let's see what this guy's doing.